Colin,
Yep.
if you record this, if we want to go over it, just got some questions between each other. Can we ask you for the recording?
Yes. So the plan for doing the recording is I'll put it up on YouTube so anyone can get it any time they like. So that might take me a couple of days to get my act together to work out how to do that, but that'll be the challenge, so that we can record them all, and even good or bad, if we put them up there, that means if anyone new comes into the team, we can go back and have a look. But I thought as well as if we record it, you can then go and have a look at it. You can play with it. And then if you've got questions and things from that session, I expect I'll sort of take 5 or 10 minutes in the sort of preceding session to actually review people's questions and queries and anything that people have told me I've missed. Right? There you go. I'll change me so you can actually see me properly. So that way you've sort of got an idea of what's happening. Even though I've sort of pre-done some things, I expect it's going to be sort of very much off the seat of my pants. So as people do things and tell me this is not how we do it or why we do it, that'll be good to actually keep coming back to. So the first one we want to do is, you don't have to do this immediately, but in all of the systems, we've actually set up a play company. So when you're logging on to your normal Triumph, right, if you have a look and you go, normally it logs into the David Gray area, you'll see that I have set up at the bottom, there's a company called Play. And for the guys at Independent, I've done the same thing with yours as well. If you actually go to the bottom of your list of companies, you'll see that there is actually a play company. And if I jump out of here for a minute. Bear with me as I jump somewhere. So hopefully you're all seeing the things happening. You normally get to see these companies, but if you actually scroll down to the bottom, there is a play one. And if you actually want to log in and follow what I'm doing, right, by all means go in and have a look at it. The only thing you've got to be careful with, if you are in that play company, that you remember to get out of it and you don't put transactions through it when you go back to the live world, because we've had that happen many times where people have gone and done a half a day or a day's work in the wrong company, and normally means you've then got to go back and do it in the real one, which doesn't make people very happy. All right, so what I was going to do today is just go in and actually start having a look at some of the sort of simple things in point of sale. I expect for some of you it'll be telling you how to suck eggs, but hopefully there might be a few pointers of what to do, and for others who've never used it, giving you an idea of what to do. The challenging bit in all of this is just timing of how long. But if anyone that's following me, we want to go point of sale, transaction entry, sales entry, and return entry. The system will then normally log in and let you actually have a user in there, right? So if I just talk to you about this sales screen so you understand what there is. On all the sales screens, we've got similar things. So if I just pick up a stock item for a minute. When we're looking at the screen, you get 4 major sections. You've got a section over here, which is actually like your till slip. We have some fast keys for data entry. You've got the bottom bit down here, which is really the main data entry bit, and then some shortcut keys up the top. If I'm putting in some stock items, the first thing we want to always do is you should be getting your branch that's coming through. Then you've actually got your stock code. Most of us hopefully start to know some of the stock codes. And if you do know the stock codes, you can actually just put that stock code straight into the system, hit enter, and it'll actually then process it through for you. So if I pull back to that one and have a look at it, I've just put that in, and the moment I hit the enter key, it'll immediately process it through as a sale. If you want to come back into that, you can actually then come in and change the quantity of something manually, and you can, oh good, I don't have enough stock of that. I can come in and change the price, the amount, and depending on your level of security, you can change all of these things on the fly. One of the challenges that we all have is, especially with me, I don't know all of your products. So if I'm looking in here to find a product, one of the things I do all the time is if I'm looking for some round rod, I'll just type in the word round and then go Shift F4. What that does is go off into the system and find anything that has the word round in its description. So you'll see it's actually pulled up a whole heap of things with round. And on this lookup screen, you'll see up the top here, it says description contains the word round. If I want to get a bit fancier, I can actually hit the little plus here and I can have other search functions as well. You'll see in there, there's like code, alternate, who's the manufacturer, the group, the category. I'm just going to do a simple one going, I want round pine. And then hit apply. And you'll see it's now brought it down to just the pine treated list. I could carry on and do that again and say, look, I want to get 3 metre. And it just brings it down to the 3 metre. So it's quite quick to actually use this search description stuff to actually minimize what you're looking at. And if I just do it again and with a bit of a variety of things, I can also come in here and say, look, I want to have things with weight area, whether it's a dangerous goods, or I could go into a group. And if I knew the groups, I could start grouping and categorizing it by groups and bringing it down on those things as well. Or if I get rid of all of this stuff, well, that's upset something. All right, keep going. Other things that are useful when I'm doing this lookup is you'll see up the top here, there's also a by manufacturer. So if you knew who your manufacturer was, we could go in and just pick off whoever this is, and it will bring in people that meet that criteria. All right, but no one that meets that. I can do the same thing with categories. Same thing again with groups. So just letting you be able to choose things by the sort of areas that you're talking. One of the other ones that's handy is there's a couple of little tick boxes that people don't use very often, right? Now click on the top one. It'll only show you the stock that's actually in your branch. So that way you can actually just see the things that are in your branch. Oh, upset the world there. So you're actually only seeing items that are in your branch. So that way you're not having to see everything else when you're searching. Or if you're looking at things, and we see this a little bit where people they use the searching for things that don't have barcodes. So you can click on there and only see the items that don't have a barcode. So it's all about trying to work out, well, what else have I got? Where is it, etc., and trying to hunt it down. If I'm looking at this cruiser and I go, oh, I don't have any at this stock, but I want to look at other locations, you'll see down the bottom there's another button called Location Inquiry. Lets me have a look and go, oh, yep, there are some in one of the other branches, and gives me the phone number in case I want to ring them and see if I can grab their stuff. All right, so essentially at that stage, I've been picking off things just by doing the lookup. And the lookup, you can either find it by hitting the 3 dots, which is what will take us into where we were. I can do the same lookup by using my function keys. If I press the F4 key, it'll do that same lookup for me. Or you can actually then start to have a look at things with adjusting prices and things like that. As I said, the one I use a lot is where I type in part of the description because I know what it's called, and I go Shift F4. And even though it feels like it's taking a long time to do it, it's gone through every stock item, which is about 60, 70,000 stock items, and found everything that had the word flat in it. So you can actually pick those up quite happily. All right. I put some, the other thing we've also been doing is, you'll see over on the side here, we have some short keys. If I click on one of those short keys, it'll actually put through the item immediately. And depending on your store, we can actually define what goes into these and how it goes in. And I think in some of the advanced stuff we're going to do, we'll start showing people how to change that around. What I have noticed at different branches, we have different settings for what people are seeing when they log in. All right, so let's carry on. We now need to pick a customer to go with this, right? If we pick on the customer, who is the customer? Same thing goes in here. How do we find a person's code? If I know their number, right, I can just type their number in, which I don't know anyone's number, but if I go in there, I can actually pull in a number, right? Pick off a person that's in the list, right? And it'll actually put it through to these guys so I can sell it to them. A couple of other things. If I go in here and I want to type in the word Valley, because I know this custom's called Valley, and go Shift F4, it'll go off and find anyone in the list who's got Valley in their name. Same thing as whenever you do this, you can actually come in here and start doing other searching. So if you know someone's telephone number, you know details about who they are, or postcodes, etc., or groups, you can start to sort of fine tune them. I think we're all pretty good at actually finding it by part of someone's name though. So I can go to who these people are. Something that can happen while we are doing this, and I expect people aren't quite so aware of this one, is I can actually update some of their details. If I knew this guy's phone number, I could actually put in their phone number while I was doing it, and I can click on the update button, which will actually update and fix their phone number if something's wrong. I can fill in purchase order numbers I'm doing it. Something that's also very handy when you're looking at a customer, if I've now got that customer in there, you'll see this little patch here which has got some green bits in it, which gives us information on this customer. One of the really handy ones is this sales history. If I click on that, it actually goes back and gives me the last things that they've been buying. So I can actually go back and have a look at the items they've been buying, especially when you get that customer that goes in, oh, I want that stuff I grabbed last week or last month. So you can actually go back and have a look at what they've been buying. Or when they're saying, oh, hang on, that's more than you charged me last week, you can actually go back and look at what you charged them specifically.
So, Colin, question there. So, if you wanted to find out what you charge them for a particular item, do you have to scroll through all of this until you find that particular item?
In the middle of a sales order, not sales order, in the middle of a normal point of sale transaction, yes. If you had a customer that came in and said, look, I want to look at a particular item, what I would normally do is go into debtors, sales orders, transactions, sales order entry, right? If I come into here and put in the customer, right? Don't know what the guy's name is, but I can do the same thing, just type in Valley. Then I come to the lines. If I then come in here and actually put in a particular code, and down the bottom, there's a little thing in here called sales history under the transactions. And it will actually look up that customer for that product, right? So it can be, and you can then do that over a range of times. It's a little bit more in depth in the normal sales orders rather than point of sale. And I think the main reason that is when you're doing a counter sale, you tend to be just doing it straight at the person versus your normal sales orders where you tend to look up things and know a bit more history about them. One of the sessions we will do is we're going to drive into the sales orders in a bit more depth. All right, let's just get out of that one. But happy, if anyone else has got any other questions like that, feel free to unmute and and fire the question.
So that investigation via a sales order, it'll still show you the detail, even though the previous transaction wasn't done through sales order. It might have been done through point of sale.
Yes, doesn't matter where it is, right?
Right. Okay.
So it literally lists any product that they were sold at any time. But it is a bit of it's a bit hidden because if I don't put a product code in and just come down to the transactions and do sales history, good. I picked a customer there. Let me go and try a different customer that might be. If I do this customer, so that way, like if I did the phone, it'll give me all of the products that the guy has sold. So it's very similar sort of thing that we were seeing in the point of sale. But if I actually go and pick a product like 5,035, it'll only tell me that when he bought these bail fasteners and giving me the time and when he did them. So, and that's essentially using the similar sort of thing as we are putting in here our search by the product code, the location, etc. for that person. And that doesn't matter whether he sold those on point of sale or through sales order entry.
Yeah, it's a bit, if you've got the customer standing in front of you, it's a bit time consuming to try and work through all of that before you charge them a price.
Yes. I do understand. And that's literally, that's what it is when it's there. If you actually put the product in, it actually drops it straight up for you versus actually pulling it up here and having a look. But if you are doing it and you actually got the customer in front of you, if I pull up sales history here, and I type up the top here, in this code here, I can actually find the product at the same time.
Right. That's a bit quicker.
Yeah. So it does actually let you look at it at that stage. It does, if you want to go to the next one, you've then got to hit find again, and it will actually keep searching for that product code through the system. All right, so while we are in there, let's just talk about the fact that we might have a customer sitting in front of us, right? We can actually hit this button here, which is the account inquiry, and have a look at where their account's up to at the moment. So what have they been buying for the month, the year, last year? What's their current balances? You can actually have a look at their outstanding transactions at the same time to see what's there. When we're looking at this, it's actually just giving me the invoice number, the due date, the amount that's unapplied, the total amount, any order number, and you can scan across and have a look at other details. So depending on what's there. One thing that a lot of people don't actually appreciate when we're looking at screens like this, if I click on the top button up here and do field chooser, I can actually take fields off the screen, the things that I don't want to look at. or don't need to look at. So if I don't want to see the unapplied amount or whatever it is, I can just drag those off the screen and I can rearrange my own screens. So that applies in lots of places. One of the ones that I tend to use, it if I go back into a product for a minute, is when I did that, do the search in products. The moment it's just got code, status, alternate code, I might not, if I click at the top here, there's a whole heap of other fields and things that I may want to put on there. I might want to know that it's a dangerous good, or I might want to know what the product group is. So I can actually do easier searching and tracking of things. Or I might say, look, I don't want to have the alternate code there. I want to get rid of that. I want to move it over here and bring back the description. And then the prices being the important things in my world. So you can actually play with that. What it will do is actually save those settings for you as the individual user. I can make things smaller, etc. as well, just to fit stuff on the screen to what I like to see. And that'll stay with my setting and anywhere in the system. And both, if I come back into normal Triumph as well, anywhere I do a normal search, that top field chooser thing allows me to pick off any of the other fields and things and information that we have available on it to actually look at it, and that will then save it in there for me to do things. If you have a go at that and you break it, right, there's a little option in here just to restore it to the standard. Now, if I do that, it'll take it back to the normal that comes out of the box, right? But it is quite handy to do that. I might be leading you all astray here for a minute, but I'll just show you this one. In stock items transactions, when I'm looking at things, and when you guys give me queries to look at, right? One of the fields I always come in here is I come in and put in the prior quantity on hand or prior MIMS quantity, so I can have a look back at how much things how things were changing, so I can actually then track what the quantity was before I did the transaction and see how it actually moved through into what was there. And it's good to be able to track back how we got some things, and more so when people are complaining to you about stock takes and how things change and why things change, to actually see where you were at a point in time. All right. Back on track again. All right. So while I am looking at these stock items, right, something that is handy, you'll see the same thing in a stock item, there's a little green bit here. If I do a stock inquiry, I can look up while I'm doing a point of sale what the sell prices are, who my normal supplier is, unless I'm getting it from head office, which will then be blank. A whole heap of information about our groupings, categories, minimum, maximum quantities, the weight and volumes. It'll also tell me what's available in different branches, or if we've got something on purchase order, when's it coming in, or we've got a transfer coming in from head office, when's it coming in. So these ones down the bottom are quite handy when someone's going, oh, when are you getting this in again? Right? You can actually look up and get an idea that there was already a purchase order raised and how much is coming, or there's a transfer coming in from O'Connor, just to have a look at a few things. Or if I'm looking at a start thing, I can also then drill in on the transactions, right? Good that I pick an item here. I can then look at these things and say, oh yes, we've done some purchase and sales. So a lot of that inquiry information can be done both from within the point of sale or back in the normal Triumph. If I'm looking at something as well, we've also got if we put anything in like special notes on something, right? You can see I've clicked on this one and I'm just looking at this and says, all right, we've had a price update. We did a merge code. So this is a good example of where Kristen's been cleaning up things and actually said, all right, this old code has now become this one. And so you can actually just go through and actually look at the information that's happening and when things happened. And we don't have any documents set up at the moment, but if we're gradually building up more documents and information and brochures on things so that you can actually look up information on things and pull up the information. So if there was any documentation or brochures or things or specification sheets on stock, we can look up those and give them to people. Okay, so I want to sell that to someone now. I found what I want to do. 3 or 4 different ways of doing it. We can sell it to them by cash, FPOS, put it on account. We can give it to another card. We can pay by check. We can do it by gift voucher. If I just go with a simple one of FPOS, comes through, which FPOS account am I using? And we don't need to really worry about visas and things because they're all coming through on the same machine. How much? If the customer wants to cash out, we can actually give them a cash out at the same time. I won't worry about it on this one. I can then save and commit that. All right, it's going to tell me I'm trying to sell things that I don't have any stock of. So that's what happens when you're not looking at the world. Might just, what I'm going to do is I'll void all and then I'll just sell something. Hopefully I have got some of. So it's then printing up for me a nice simple little receipt printer, which hopefully prints off on your receipt printer. We will go through when we get to the advanced one about how to reprint these things. If you do need to reprint them, under the till options, there's a function in here called reprint docket or reprint the last one, just so you can go back to someone if someone doesn't want a receipt and then they come back later and want one.
Colin, may I ask a question?
Yes.
On your FPOS, so if you go through, could you just do an FPOS?
Yep.
Okay, stop now. Put your cash out. Say it's $50 cash out. We found did you press enter there or down arrow?
I think I hit enter, but I don't know. How about I could?
Because if we hit enter and not down arrow, we are in a mess at the end of the till, you know, when we cash up at the end of the day.
Yep.
Because sometimes you always used to just hit enter. So we do everything now with down arrow, because if you don't push down arrow there, you're in a mess at the end of the day.
All right. I'll just void all and do that. I think it's one of those ones. I do tend to hit the down arrow a lot, so I don't know what I hit then when I did that.
That's all right.
Yeah, you're right. I think I mostly did hit the down arrow, and that is something I do. You'll see we put the down arrow on there as a deliberate thing because it tends to actually finish off your transaction for you. But I will test it.
On the FPOS, just a word of warning: don't hit enter.
I'll do a test for you just to see what happens, right? You know, they didn't make any. Did the same thing for me. Down arrow and enter.
Okay, we just put slipping on.
So that might be one we'll just have. I might take it offline and have a little test there and see if there is something. Well, if you want to send me the details of what's happening in your world, right? Happy to track that through.
Thanks. I bought the Boston to explain it, but it's fine.
Oh no, now Skip's involved. We're in deep trouble.
Quiet, quiet.
Just the down arrow, not enter when you do a cash out.
Oh yes, it's been brought up a few times. If we do down arrow, if we enter after the F cash out, it doesn't balance at the end of the day. It's basically we have to do an over and under.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll go and have a bit of a play with that and just see what it does. I haven't heard of that one before, but we're all in here to learn, so that's good. Like most things, I learn as much as anyone else.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Colin.
That's all right. Okay, so we've basically done the receipt there. If I just do a couple of other ones, just so we can see things happening. If we do a normal cash transaction, in here when we're doing this, we can actually either type in the full amount, or if we actually put in the guy's given me $100, or we can actually just click on the picture, and that will then tell me how much change to give him, right? Gives me the receipt, etc. But you'll see the changes actually coming up there telling me what to give him. Something that you can do that I don't think is that common, right? If I actually put through a couple of things, I can come through here and go, look, yep, guy's given me $10 in cash and he's paid the balance with his EFTPOS card. So you can actually do that where you can take a receipt and pay it with different types of transactions, or you can put some on account and pay some with cash. All right, so I'm putting that one through, putting it onto an account, finding out the person. As you can see there, I'm typing it in and pressing Shift F4 again, because I just don't know people's codes. And then
Sorry, Colin, a query's come up.
Yep.
If you do the cash and card, do you have to do one before the other?
No, doesn't
Or
matter
can you
which.
do-
Doesn't matter which way you do them.
Thank you.
And you can do, like I just did 2 there, but we could do 3 or 4 different types if you wanted to. The only thing you need to be careful when you are doing them is they normally, whichever one you pick first, it always defaults to the amount, the balance. So you do have to override the amount yourself. All right, so I'm just putting in this guy's detail. I'm just down arrowing, and it asks me what I want to put on account. So if in this case here, I want to put on $10 on account, then I can do cash for $10. Same thing, I'm typing in the amount that I want to do. Otherwise, it will come up to the default of the balance, right?
Colin, when you do the first cash first, do down arrow or enter? Pardon?
I'm just, hang on, let me look. No, I'm hitting enter on that.
Enter, okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't actually matter. The down arrow is maybe the better key because it does always finish off things. The same thing if I'm doing a sales line.
Yeah.
If I do a sales line and hit enter, it goes to the next field in most cases. Or if I do it as being a down arrow, it'll finish off the line completely. So you get two different functions happening. Enter is always, whenever you do the enter, it goes to the next field in the step. So whatever you're doing, it would go through. But if you hit the down arrow, it goes through all of the extra fields on that line and starts the new line. Does that make sense to everyone? Hopefully. I'll get rid of this stuff for a minute. So I basically put that in. Other things we can do is we've got other cards. So this is classically where we're paying things with fleet cards or star cards, or we've got might attend gift cards and things, or motor passes to pay someone's account on some of these other cards, which aren't your normal standard FPOS cards. Or we can actually have people come in and pay with gift vouchers. I wasn't planning on doing that today, but just so you know, it's there. And we can also pay for things with a check. So if I come in with a check, I can then put in the details of the balance and fill in all the guys' details. Couple more things is in the middle of doing this, Skip's come in and he's buying some mild steel, and now he's run away to buy a few beers, and someone else has come to the counter wanting to grab some stuff. What I can do there is, instead of leaving it halfway, I can hit the save as there and go into a couple of other options here, like a park sale. So if I go and put it to a park sale and skip that, it will bring it back in here that I can actually now go in and sell something to someone else, right? Happily finishing that. Then I can come into the open area and go back into the park sale, and it will bring up for me on my workstation the park sale that I was working on. If I was actually had walked over and I was on a different PC, right, and I wanted to pull up a different piece, pull it up on a different PC, I can actually click on this thing here and it'll give me all of the park sales that are sitting in the system, right? So I can actually pull these up and start to actually work on something that's already been in existence. But if I just grab that one there, it'll pull it back in. The effect of that is it essentially does nothing in the system. All it is like it's a draft waiting there for someone to do anything. Once I'm in here, I can then carry on and do all the rest of the bits and pieces. While we are in that save as, I can give someone a quote. So if I change this into a quote, I need to put it into a customer. So what I can do then is actually print out something to give this guy a quote, right? So he can actually take that away and have the price. It hasn't actually done anything in the system, right? There's been nothing saved or anything. It just means that if he does come back in, I can open up his quote. Well, he gave me his number, right? And then, yep, I can pull that up and I can then carry on and convert that over to whatever I want it to be. And save it. A couple of other options in there. We can save it as an order, or we can save things into the back office system as an order in the back office, right? Or we can do it as a lay-by, so the guy can actually grab the goods. And what will happen there, once we start to do lay-bys and orders, it will actually reserve the stock for the person. Okay. I think I've done enough damage there today. I wasn't going to do much more than that in today's session. I think we sort of, it's given us 3/4 of an hour or so. So if I just zoom back in here for a minute. Oh, there we are. You can see, I can see everyone's smiling faces again. There's a few other bits and pieces that I had on the extended stuff, which I will maybe hold off to the next session, because I've really been through now what's in a point of sale, how to find the product, how to find a customer, how we're paying the different things, Well, the one I didn't do is paying an account, so maybe I will show you that. Let me just go and jump into there for a minute. So one thing that we do have happen is a customer comes in, right, and wants to pay their account there and then. If a customer comes in and here wants to pay their account, if you click on customer, there's a button over here called account receipt. Pick up who the customer is. Same thing again, I'm doing my searching. How much is the guy paying against his account? So let's say he's given me $500 on his account. I then need to record how he's going to pay for it. So he's going to doing that on FPOS. And then I can save and commit that. What that will do is basically put $500 straight through onto his account. It won't nominate which invoices or anything, but it just puts it straight through onto his account as a payment. So quite easy to track it, and then Fiona can actually deal with which invoices he's paying, etc. All right, and sales orders. We've just talked about the fact that for most of the time, the majority of people are using the point of sale sort of things to do their day-to-day transactions. Sales orders are more when we're dealing with chemicals and there's more of a negotiation happening. And we will have a specific session on how to do sales orders and deal with things and do the pricing of that. I had some extra stuff there if I had more time to do, but I was just going to quickly look at a couple of things. Is for future sessions, we've sort of got a list of items there that we're going to cover. What are the different types of stock items, being MIMS versus agency versus procured versus normal? Some details of sales orders, some more advanced stuff on point of sale, stock taking, how to do your end of day, some reporting that we want the managers to start looking at, trying to look at every week or so, how to raise purchase orders, how to do stock transfers, a bit of an overview of what MIMS are and how we actually report MIMS and manage it. And I've added another one in under scanners and mobiles. And really, when we start doing that, it'll be a bit of a carryover for what we do in stock taking. But there's a whole heap of functions that have been added onto the scanners and mobiles, which now allow us to grab our mobile and walk around with the customer and actually take a sale there and then, or be out in the paddock and take an order from someone, and it feeds it into the system. So there's a fair few things in there, or walk around the shop and actually say, oh, I need to order certain stuff, and it'll raise the purchase orders for you. I expect that there's going to be a heap of other things that you guys come up with. So anyone who wants to cover things, just as we did today with questions, feel happy to jump in or flick me an email, and I'll just go up and make something up for you. All right. I think I've done enough damage today. Plan is to do this sort of every fortnight until you're bored listening to me or no one turns up, and I'll just keep going and doing it anyway. And we'll just sort of see how we go from there. And as I said, we've got that's a fair few fortnights, but I expect there'll be things that change and things that come through as we do bits and pieces, or if we do new things that we think are quite handy. Actually, I am going to just sidetrack and go back and show you all one thing that we did in the last week or so. The guys in head office got very excited about this, so I think I better show people, right? When we're looking up stuff in stock item inquiry, I don't know whether this product's got anything in it. And it hasn't got anything in it. Oh, yes, it has. So if I'm in here, what we've had Triumph do, and this is an update we put in got to put in last week. If I'm looking at something here, I want to see what's a quantity on order. Oh, on hand. Okay, let me see if I can find something that's got something on order. Nothing like a bit of pre-planning here. All right. Anyone got any ideas of what stock that we might have on order?
Try, Colin, try Gramoxa.
Oh, how do you spell that?
Gramox.
That might do me off. No, that's all right. Not having much luck here.
Try Amistar. AMISTAR. Maybe not in this location.
Yeah, that might be the problem. All right, hang on. Let me just. I'm going to just flip out of here for 2 seconds.
Sorry,
Want me to give you the code, Colin?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
So 520598, location 90.
All right, someone rescued me. Well done. So when I've got an item on order here, if I drill in on it, I can actually see the items that are there. Right? One thing that used to be irritating is we'd then have to go write this order number down and then go and look it up separately. We've had Triumph add something, so if I do a right mouse click there, I can now just zoom and it will take me straight into the order that's outstanding. So if I've got something on order with a purchase order, it means I can actually now go to it and go, oh, I want to look at this and see what else is on that order, or go and start editing and changing it. Same thing if I've got an order reserved for a customer. I can have a customer's order. I can zoom straight into it to have a look. Right? The one I haven't checked, and this is because it's only new to me, is we might actually even be on stock transfers in, right? And I will need to go and test that to see if it does the same thing. But what they've tried to do is make it so that instead of a lot of the time we've all at different stages write things down, and we've been trying to actually make it so that if we see people writing things down and having to find it somewhere else, we can go back and whinge to them and say, this can be done better. So the guy, especially the guys in the order and the sort of who do a lot of ordering, that saved them a heap of time. All right, so that maybe sidetracked us all for a minute. I think that's okay. I think my time is up. I've got it. My hour is over. You've had enough. You can all go back and actually earn some money now. Thank you for coming. I'll see you all in a fortnight.
If I can just have a quick word,
Thank you,
Colin.
Colin.
So, thanks very much for that, Colin. What we are going to be doing is popping all of these presentations onto a YouTube channel. That's our next challenge to get that sorted out. So you can always go back and review the YouTube channel and go to a place within the YouTube channel and go over a certain topic again. So don't panic. You wouldn't have had to write everything down today. We should be able to review it again.
Yeah, so same thing is if there's something that we did this week and you'd want to cover again next week, if you flick me an email, I basically got in my mind that it needs to be sort of 5 or 10 minutes where we just review what we've done, right? Because I expect people will try a few things this week and then go, what the bloody hell how did he do that? Right? So I'm happy to repeat things. All right. Are we done? Yep.
We're done. Thank you very much, Colin.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
See ya.
You think okay coming in today? Does he need to come in on Tuesday?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think he's out and about
Okay, good.
because he's normally here every day, but